This is a great celebration of the ethic of Bushnell University, wisdom, faith, and service, as it finds traction in the lives of our students, our alumni, our friends, and our community, those who choose to be partners with this very, very important work. My name is Keith Potter. I'm Vice President for University Advancement and also the Director of the Center for Leadership and Ethics. The Center for Leadership and Ethics sponsors and celebrates this event every year. On the stage with me, Dr. Joseph Womack, President of Bushnell University, Dr. Corinne Gilbert, the Director of Development at Bushnell University. Bushnell is in its 127th year. We have been pouring into this community and sending out world changers for a long, long time. It is my opinion that we get stronger and better every year. Like everyone else, the last few years have tested us, and we're so grateful for the way that God has provided and people have shown up, and somehow we've even been strengthened through great trial. Tonight, we're just so grateful to be able to honor today's leaders who are making a difference in the world around us, and to celebrate the fact that tomorrow others will be going out to do the very, very same thing. I'm going to ask for one favor from, could we say thank you to our sound and light and tech people who are back at you're doing a wonderful job. The problem is that this is dark and I can't read the script. So if there's a way to shine a light down, that would be helpful. If not, the phone might get hard, but we'll let you experiment. You'll all give them grace as we experiment, correct? That would be great. Before we go forward into the program, I want to thank Pastor Steve Hill and our gracious hosts here at Grace Community Fellowship. Could we give them a big hand? In just a few minutes, you're going to receive a gift from our students. One of my favorite things to say when our students show up for an event like this is that they certainly are exemplary, but they're also indicative. In other words, we think they're wonderful, but they represent a whole student body of amazing people. But you'll get a chance to hear a few excellent selections of music. And before we do that, I think we should start this off with a word of prayer. I would like to ask President Womack to open us up in prayer. Dr. Womack has had a 12-year tenure now at the university that's been highlighted by growth in our student population, depth and breadth in our curricula, the expansion and improvement of our campus, and I just have to say, extraordinary leadership through seasons of very unique and unexpected challenges that were common to us all. So, Dr. Womack, would you lead us in prayer?
Will you bow with me? Heavenly Father, we're grateful for the gifts that you give us, the gift of your love that you show to us through the Spirit and through our fellowship as your children, called so by you as those that believe in your Son, Jesus Christ, in whose name we pray this evening, and ask that you join us here. We pray that you would be honored as we honor your servants, and as we recognize above anything that we could ever do in service, we know that you have served us with the gift of grace, the gift of your righteousness, the gift of your presence in our lives. And we are so thankful for that and thankful for this evening. I ask that you be with us as we enjoy the evening together. In your Son's precious and holy name we pray. Amen.
in the Lord, in the Lord. My soul's been anchored in the Lord. My soul's been anchored in the Lord. My soul's been anchored in the Lord. In the Lord. My soul's been anchored in the Lord. In the Lord. In the Lord. My soul's been anchored in the Lord. My Lord, my soul's been anchored in the Lord. Good Lord, my soul's been anchored in the Lord. Before I'd stay in hell one day, my soul's been anchored in the Lord. I'd sing and pray myself away. My soul's been anchored in the Lord. My soul's been anchored in the Lord. My soul's been anchored in the Lord. In the Lord. My soul's been anchored in the Lord. In the Lord. In the Lord. My soul's been anchored in the Lord. My Lord, my soul's been anchored in the Lord. Good Lord, my soul's been anchored in the Lord. Gotta shout and pray and never stop. My soul's been anchored in the Lord. Until I reach the mountain top. My soul's been anchored in the Lord. My soul's been anchored in the Lord. My soul's been anchored in the Lord. In the Lord. My soul's been anchored in the Lord. In the Lord. In the Lord. My soul's been anchored in the Lord. My Lord, my soul's been anchored in the Lord. Good Lord, my soul's been anchored in the Lord. Do you love Him? Oh yes. Do you love Him? Hallelujah. Do you love Him? Oh yes. God Almighty. Are you anchored? Are you anchored? Oh yes. Yes, yes, my soul's been anchored in the Lord. Yes. Will you serve Him? Will you serve Him? Oh yes. Will you serve Him? Hallelujah. Will you serve Him? Oh yes. God Almighty. Are you anchored? Are you anchored? Oh yes. Yes, yes, my soul's been anchored in the Lord. Hallelujah. Will you praise Him? Will you praise Him? Oh yes. Will you praise Him? Hallelujah. Will you praise Him? Oh yes. God Almighty. Are you anchored? Yes, I'm anchored. Lord, I'm anchored. Oh yes. Lord, I love you. Oh yes. Yes, I'll serve you. Oh yes. Lord, I'll praise you. Oh yes. Hallelujah. My soul's been anchored in the Lord. God Almighty, my been anchored. Anchored in the Lord.
Spectacular. Thank you so much. Dr. Kelly Ballard is the Dean of our School of Music and Performing Arts, and these students are tremendous. We thank you so very, very much for everything. Appreciate you all. The evening of tribute has been happening now for, as I said, 13 years, but the Center for Leadership and Ethics was birthed close to 20 years ago through relationships between the university and the business community and the nonprofit community of Eugene and Springfield, who wanted to have forums and symposiums to discuss ethical leadership and the issues of our day, who wanted to build relationships between students and business nonprofit leaders here in our community. We also began then giving out Beacon Awards because it seemed valuable not only to hold those forums and symposiums, not only to build the relationships, but even to spotlight people in the community who are simply doing it well and doing it the right way. And along with that, this is our night, of course, to call in all of our friends into a partnership where we stand up for our students and grow the Beacon Fund for student scholarships. I'd like to thank first our legacy title sponsor for this event. Moss Adams is not only our accounting agent as a university, they are steeped in history and credibility in this community. I'm reading from a statement by Pam Elling, who not only is a notable alumnus of Bushnell University, but a partner at Moss Adams. At the forefront of Moss Adams' core values, which guide our organization in all that we do, are principles starting with a passion for excellence as we serve others, a commitment in doing all things with integrity, and leading by example. For these reasons, Moss Adams is pleased to partner with the Bushnell University Center for Leadership and Ethics by coming together tonight to celebrate and award these exemplary individuals and organizations within our own community who exhibit these values and continue to positively impact the people and places in which they serve. So can we say thank you to Moss Adams for their involvement in this night? In addition to Moss Adams, I'd like to celebrate our gold, silver, and bronze sponsors. You'll see all of their logos on the screen, but I'd like to name them publicly. We couldn't make this event happen without their participation and without their funding. I'm going to mention all the gold sponsors, and then I'll ask us to applaud for them, then the silver sponsors, and we'll applaud, and then the bronze sponsors. Our gold sponsors are Ameriprise Financial, our KO Financial Group. We're grateful to Gary Jordan and Candy Glazebrook. We're grateful today for Breenuck LLC. We're so grateful for Enoch Howell, who does so much wonderful work in sound and light and tech all around our community, and again, one of our alum. His production team are providing our care tonight, as well as supporting us as sponsors. I'm grateful for Joe and Kathleen Karcher, who support us every year in so many ways, and the Karcher family of businesses, Carl's Jr., The Human Bean, Dave's Hot Chicken, and Jersey Mike's. Could we say thank you to our gold sponsors? Our silver sponsors, Banner Bank, D.A. Davidson in Medford, Fast Signs, Harry Ritchie's Jewelers, leadership coach and faculty member Larry Coburn, Northwest Community Credit Union, Oakway Center was thrilled to see Linda Korth here today, along with Kim Williams, our current trustee chair, Oregon Community Credit Union Foundation, Peace Health, Todd Solness and the crew at Peace Health, our neighbors across the street and elsewhere, we're grateful for you. Twin Rivers Plumbing, and Umpqua Bank. Could we say thank you to our silver sponsors? And then our bronze sponsors, Arnold Gallagher Attorneys at Law, Kaywood Communications, Chambers Construction, Corlux Financial, thank you, Colleen, for being here, Eagle Strategies, Rory Robinson, one of our alum and board members, Edward Jones, Carrie Richardson, thank you for being here, another alum. Eugene Christian School. So many of our alum are teaching and working there at Eugene Christian School. Industrial Finishes, thank you, Mike Duncan, one of our alum. I want to say thank you to Mackenzie Willamette Medical Center, to Minuteman Services, to Northwest Natural, to Pacific Source Health Plans, Pivot Architecture. Thank you, Larry and our friends at Pivot. Wildish Companies. We miss Jim, but I talked to Yvonne this week, and we're grateful for that whole family and their long history with us. Could we say thank you to all of our bronze sponsors, please? The last thing I want to say is that Eugene and Springfield Chambers of Commerce have been great friends to us, and I like to think we to them and for them. We enjoy so many partnerships in this community that means so much to all of us. So I know we have friends from both chambers who are here tonight. Could we say thank you to all of them? Some special guests I'd like to acknowledge tonight. First of all, you've met President Womack. If you could stand again, and then your wife, Christy. Would you stand, please? And I'm going to ask people to remain standing until these individuals and categories have all been introduced. Our Bushnell University vice presidents and their spouses, would you stand, please? Could I ask, please, President Emeritus Dr. Jim Womack and his wife, Sharon Kay, to stand? We are so grateful to have Womack's Sr. with us. I want to acknowledge Dean Emeritus Dr. Song Nairi and his wife, Sue. He was my Old Testament professor. Great history here. I'd like to have stand, please, past and present Board of Trustee members. I know there are a number of you out there. I would also like to ask former winners of the Beacon Award, the Exemplary Ethical Leader Award, or a Distinguished Alumni Award. In other words, if you're a past winner at this event, would you stand as well? And then I want to ask past and present Center for Leadership and Ethics Advisory Board members to stand. And that's a pretty good crowd of people very involved. The last thing I want to say is I'll bet there are a bunch of alumni out there and even current students. I met one so far tonight who is both alumni and is in the MBA program. So if you're an alum or if you're a current student, would you stand as well? And let's acknowledge all of these people. Thank you so much. You may be seated. We want you to feel inspired by our students and by our story. Since we can't walk you around campus tonight, we have recruited two of our favorite tour guides, two of our students, Aubrey and Miriam, who have a special campus tour planned for you. Please watch, join them, and enjoy the campus at Bushnell University.
Hi there, my name is Aubrey and I am a first-year graduate student in Bushnell's Master of Arts in Leadership program.
And my name is Miriam Gutierrez, a senior here studying business administration with a concentration in international business and management.
I work in our Department of Admissions coordinating all of the campus visits for our faculty, alumni, and prospective visitors who are wanting to visit Bushnell.
And I've been a student tour guide for the past year, and I have loved getting the opportunity to show students around our campus and to show them why Bushnell University is so unique.
Bushnell University fosters wisdom, faith, and service through academic excellence within a Christ-centered community. Today we're going to show you 3 of our favorite spots on campus where we make that happen.
Come on, let's get started on your tour.
Our first stop on our tour today is going to be Kellenberger Library, home of career development, tutoring, and accessibility services. Bushnell University is unique in our mission. We want to nurture both heart and mind. We do this by instilling wisdom in the classroom while building meaningful connection between students and staff. Let's go ahead and take a look inside. With a 12-to-1 student-faculty ratio and an average class size of 14 students, we get a lot of individualized support from our professors. We also have a dedicated academic advising team that will help you create an individualized graduation plan that helps you graduate on time while still considering athletics, a desire to study abroad, or your internship. One of my favorite parts about being a student here at Bushnell is that I'm more than just a number. I've benefited from supportive professors who have pushed me to do my best while still encouraging me both academically and professionally. Here at Bushnell, we provide great educational experiences, but we're also devoted to spiritual growth. Let's go ahead and go to our next place on campus, Womack Hall, and see what Miriam wants to share with us.
Welcome to the Womack Hall, our newly renovated student dormitory that holds around 200 beds. Womack Hall highlights our second core value, which is faith. Come on, let's take a look inside. Acquiring Womack Hall in 2021 has enabled Bushnell University to continue to grow. In fact, our campus-wide goal is to increase our enrollment to 1,000 students by 2026. There's so many amazing opportunities that students get to deepen their faith here at Bushnell University. This includes going to chapel, signing up for a small group, or participating in a short-term mission trip. Before we go to our next location, I want to show you one of my personal favorite spots in this building, the hospitality room. The hospitality room is a favorite spot for a lot of the Bushnell students to come and hang out with one another, do some homework, or meet up with their small group. As a commuter student myself, I have been able to create a lot of my friendships by joining a small group. In fact, we met exactly in this place. By joining various different small groups through the past 3 years, I have been able to spiritually grow by reading the Bible with my friends, and I feel deeply connected to the Bushnell community. Time's up, let's head over to the Moore Center for our final stop with Aubrey.
The final stop on today's tour is the Morris Center, which embodies our third value, service. Here at the Morris Center, we invite community members to engage with campus through chapel, athletic events, and our musical performances. Serving others isn't just something we do at Bushnell, it's a part of who we are. Students and staff have so many opportunities to serve throughout the year. This starts with Embrace the Community Day, or ETC Day. This is where we cancel all of our classes for an afternoon and go out into the Eugene and Springfield area to serve with a lot of different organizations doing a lot of different projects. We also provide students the opportunity to go on mission trips every summer, serve as orientation leaders in the fall, or participate in our student-led community service club. Serving others is life-changing. I'm so thankful that service is a value here at Bushnell and for the many ways that it's helped shape my life and my future. Now we're gonna go meet up with Miriam and finish up our tour.
Thank you for joining us on this quick tour around our campus. At Bushnell, students are well prepared for their professional futures, but learn to lead with integrity, serve those around them, and inspire others to follow.
It's been so much fun getting to show you around campus today, but there's still so much more to experience of the Bushnell campus. So please consider this your official invitation to join us for an in-person tour. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Miriam and Aubrey, where are you? I know you're out there somewhere. Can you guys wave for me? They're in the back. They're really serious about their invitation to come to campus. So we would really love to have you join us. They'll show you all the spots that you missed on today's tour. Each year, a group of us from the university and from the Center for Leadership and Ethics, we get together to consider who in our community truly represents the heart of Bushnell, the spirit of wisdom, faith, and service. We take a sweeping look at who is doing good work in our community. We listen, we take note, we hear what other people are saying, and then we select someone who can really reflect the heart of where we're headed and the way that we want to embody these values in our students, provide them amazing role models. We are so excited about this year's award winner, so let's just get to it. Tonight, we'd like to present the first Beacon Award for Wisdom and Faith and Service to our friend Trace Scopel. Trace is a 40-year veteran of the accounting and finance world here in the area. He has served 30 years at Moss Adams, 20 of those as a partner. And I was sharing with one of his colleagues out in the lobby tonight, sometimes these awards are given to people who are in big roles with lots of public attention. And sometimes the people who are faithfully serving at their task, year after year, decade after decade, with integrity, humility, care, and courage, those are so understated, and yet I think this is our chance to celebrate those type of people in Trace. He retired in 2018. We've actually considered giving this award to Trace in the past, but we felt like with Moss Adams being our title sponsor, we had to wait. So Trace retired in 2018, and we are finally able to honor him tonight. He has served on numerous boards of directors, including the Greater Eugene Area Chamber of Commerce, the University of Oregon Accounting Department, the Moss Adams Endowment Board, the Oregon Bach Festival, Eastside Faith Center Council, and Parenting Now, just to name a few. He has been recognized for his professionalism, his leadership, and quite a few people came to me with just great words of gratitude that we have chosen Trace for this award. So I'm going to let Joel Powell, a longtime friend and colleague of Trace's, tell us a little bit about Trace in his own words.
I've had the privilege of knowing and working with Trace Scopel for almost 35 years. And it's a great honor to introduce him as one of this year's recipients of the Beacon Award for Wisdom, Faith, and Service. If I had to describe Trace in just 2 words, it would be people person. Relationships truly matter to him. He has a genuine respect for others that is guided by the golden rule. He's a devoted husband and father, and he's always willing at any time to just jump in and help those around him. Coach John Wooden used to tell us players to be more concerned with your character than your reputation, because your character is what you really are, while your reputation is merely what others think you are. In Trace's case, I can honestly say that those 2 things are just one and the same, which is why I believe he is so deserving of this recognition. Congratulations, Trace.
Please join me in congratulating Trace Scopel on this award.
Let me forget this. It is a little dark up here, so I think I'm going to kind of try to wing it. First of all, I just want to shout out a couple shout outs before I start. One, I want to shout out to Joel, and I don't know where Joel is. There he is. Thank you so much for such a great introduction, and thanks for only saying the good things. Very much appreciate that. And also, I just want to acknowledge John and Teresa Garnsey are celebrating their 37th wedding anniversary tonight with us here. So congratulations. Before I get started, I think I need to share a couple of things that cause me anxiety and discomfort. One is being the center of attention, and the second is public speaking. So you kind of see where I'm going right now. So, and I've been told by many people, primarily my wife Lisa and son Eric, that I mask these fears with humor. So hopefully in the course of the next couple of minutes, there'll be some smiles and maybe a couple of laughs. So here's a couple of fun facts about me. I was blessed to be born into a loving, caring family in Eugene, Oregon, almost 67 years ago. Oldest of 4 siblings. My sister Sarah is here tonight. A little warning on Sarah. Sarah is the crier in our family. So if I look down and she's crying, it's game over up here. So please behave yourself, all right? So, 10 days after I turned 30, I made the best decision of my life, and I married my wife, Lisa. She's my life partner, my best friend, my travel companion, my travel planner, my therapist, my spiritual director, and a professionally trained pastry chef to boot. So thank you very much, Lisa. After we were married, Lisa and I kind of explored some professional opportunities in both San Francisco and Seattle. And we realized once we wanted to start a family that we wanted to come back to Eugene. Our son Eric, who's here tonight, thanks for being here, Eric, was first born in Seattle, but we relocated to Eugene. And then a couple years later, our daughter Becca arrived. So here we are in Eugene, Oregon. Bought a house. I reconnected with Moss Adams, and as Corinne said, started a 30-year career with Moss Adams, which is a great accounting firm. And about this time, I looked at myself and I said, okay, I'm a husband and I'm a father, I'm a homeowner, and I probably should start acting like an adult. Now I know there's more than a few people in the crowd who will say, Trace, when are you going to start acting like an adult? And I will respond to that by saying, I'm a lifetime learner. So what I want to talk about a little bit now is just the three core values that Bushnell has, which is the wisdom, faith, and service. And I want to start with the faith. When Lisa and I came back to Eugene, we immediately connected with Eastside Faith Center. We were there on the second Sunday of them being in service. They were pastored and founded by a Bushnell University grad, Sean McCartan. Lisa and I got actively involved in the church. Lisa led women's ministry, and I served on the church council for over 10 years. The church has changed names and locations many times. We're still there. The church is now called Faith Avenue, and it's pastored by another ex-Bushnell alum, Tim Johnson. A little bit about service. Corinne mentioned all the things I've gone through and done, and I've been really blessed to be involved in a lot of great organizations and really have benefited from being involved. The one I want to talk about is the Oregon Bach Festival, and I want to share on that because that one's got a special place in my heart. My wife Lisa's father, Roy Saltzman, co-founded the Bach Festival over 50 years ago. And when I served on the board, I felt like I was part of the Saltzman family business for a short period of time, which is very, very special, very, very special to me. I want to close with the wisdom, and I gave an overhead I'd like to share. I don't know if you have that or not. Here it is. This is where I got to watch out for Sarah, because this is my mom and dad, and they really were the cornerstones of the person I've become. And they both shared nuggets with me. My dad, Bob, said, work hard and treat everyone with respect. Now, my dad wasn't a big talker, but he led by example. I don't know if I met too many people who worked harder than my father or was more respectful of people. So thank you to Bob. My mom, her true nuggets were one, the one that you could control is your attitude, which I think is very, very true. Now, anyone who knows my mom, for 85 of her 88 years on earth, she followed this rule great. The last 3 years was a little bit shaky on the attitude piece with my mother. The last thing my mom shared with me was just to have fun. Every time I was getting ready to go out and do something, that sporting event, taking a test, she'd say, Tracy, I was Tracy back then, she'd said, do your best and have fun. And these really are the guidelines that I've really tried to follow in my life. These four points right here. I try to share them with others, both personally and professionally. And I can say I'm very, very proud that Eric and Becca have started to exhibit these in their lives. So I think the tradition will continue. With that, I want to say thank you to Mom and Dad, and thank you to Bushnell for this award.
The next Beacon Award for Wisdom, Faith, and Service goes to an organization that has served our community for over 70 years. Northwest Community Credit Union was founded in 1949. 6 Weyerhaeuser employees got together. They pooled their money. They had $50 combined, and they created a fund to help their friends in need. And that grew. That started a seed for an inspiration for a business. And that business now serves 100,000 members across 14 branches and over $1.5 billion in assets. What I love about Northwest Community Credit Union is that it's a not-for-profit financial cooperative. So they are not in it for shareholders. They are in it for the members. They are committed to superior service and compassion. They are committed to loyalty to every member. Their goal is to help all their members achieve some financial security and to make their futures better than their present. Their goal is to treat everyone with courtesy and dignity and respect. And for their employees, their hope is to create a work environment where people can flourish in every way, personally and professionally. And the community, the credit union has been deeply invested through several philanthropic arms. One of those is an organization that they've created called Project Community. And that program is a mini grant that they give out to teachers who are trying to engage their students in the process of learning. They also offer 2 college scholarship programs serving at least 20 students each year. They host financial reality fairs at schools for even starting at really young ages to teach financial literacy. And you guys all know, because all of you go to events around the city regularly, they show up. They show up as sponsors over and over again. Their heart is to focus on youth education and development and other organizations who are committed to community sustainability to help those with the greatest needs. In a moment, you're going to watch a short video that celebrates Northwest Community Credit Union. You'll notice also in this video that we can't talk about their award without talking about their leadership. John Iglesias, the CEO of Northwest Community Credit Union, he could not be here tonight and he sends his regrets. We get to share a little bit about why his leadership has been so pivotal to the credit union receiving this award. Both the credit union and John personally have really shown up for Bushnell, and it's a joy to call them our friends and our colleagues. And as a leader, John is somebody that we deeply admire. So we're going to hear now from John Reese, former Eugene City Manager, his thoughts on Northwest Community Credit Union, Bushnell University, and this community.
It is an honor to introduce John Iglesias and Northwest Community Credit Union. I first met John about 10 years ago as the credit union was relocating their headquarters between Eugene's downtown and the Willamette River. I found him smart, engaging, thoughtful, and caring. It was immediately apparent that he is a servant leader, seeking the best interests of others in the community, as well as the credit union. I have been a big fan of John's ever since. The convergence of Bushnell University, John, and Northwest, celebrated with this evening's award, feels natural. Bushnell has stood in the middle of Eugene's physical footprint for over 125 years. But even more than its central location on the map, Bushnell also quietly but powerfully stands solidly within the city's social and cultural history. The impact of your wisdom, faith, and service is a refreshing and unique catalyst, a small but effective kernel of yeast in our mixing bowl of many viewpoints and outlooks. Similarly, John has chosen to lead with kindness, grace, and love in a world that sometimes elbows itself to the front of the line instead. By leading this way, John, too, is yeast in this community. It's a good time to be yeast. Sometimes it feels like our communities are torn, but Bushnell, John, and the credit union offer encouragement that the tear does not need to be permanent. Congratulations, John.
Please join me in congratulating Northwest Community Credit Union for all of their service to our community. We have quite a few. In just a moment, I'm going to invite up Cheryl Crow and Jan to receive this award. But if you are here tonight and you are an employee of or a member of Northwest Community Credit Union, could you please stand? Cheryl and Jan, come on up. Let's give them another round of applause.
Trace, you're going to be a hard act to follow. Thank you, Corinne. It is our deep honor to receive this recognition from Bushnell University on behalf of our CEO, John Iglesias. He very much wanted to be here to tell you himself that his experience at Bushnell over the last few years have opened his sense of how a leader shows up in this world. Most notably, how leaders bring our collective strengths together to serve. In remarks he prepared for tonight, John said, "Bushnell is a community of generous leaders, and I am so fortunate to be a part of that. The Christian values I hold in common with this institution have continually provided me a source of strength and the fresh inspiration to continue to grow. Bushnell's faculty and wise leaders like Professor Dave Walsh, President Womack, and Dean Nyworth have led me to opportunities and new roles that continue to shape me academically as a leader.
You know, Jan, John often talks about how working with Bushnell has given him the opportunity to teach, to advise, to mentor, and to be mentored, and to study with compassionate leaders who model wisdom, faith, and service. And all this has happened during a time of great personal change for him. He's been stretched academically, and there's an exciting and demanding new venture in his business life, leading Northwest's merger with Twin Star Credit Union. He expressed his gratitude this way: "My relationship with Bushnell couldn't have happened without all those who carefully connected me to a path. To all the people who have influenced me, who have been a spark of joy or offered a brilliant insight, thank you to each of you at Bushnell University." John also wanted to recognize and share this honor with our Northwest Community Credit Union Board of Directors. Some of them are here tonight, especially Barb Blackmore, Board Director, and Brad Anderson, Board Secretary, who were responsible for crafting the vision for Northwest that led to the hiring of him 10 years ago. He also thanks our current board chair, Dr. David Rainwater, and Thomas Pettisar, Vice Chair. John notes that all of these directors have had the necessary and sometimes extreme patience to coach him as their very determined CEO. Their support has allowed him to continue in his development, including the pursuit of doctoral study.
That's right. In fact, for many of us at Northwest Community Credit Union, Bushnell has become a cherished place of trust and commitment to reach for our very best, and we look forward to inspiring more of our leaders to future excellence in the Bushnell MBA program.
So thank you again on behalf of John Iglesias and Northwest Community Credit Union for the deep privilege to learn and serve with you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Our final Beacon Award tonight is actually presented to our 2022 Distinguished Young Alumnus. Gabe Pihavich is a 2019 graduate of Bushnell University, and I've known Gabe for quite a few years now, and it's just an absolute joy to be here with him and his family. Now I'm going to get emotional. Sorry, I looked at Gina and she was starting to cry already. Much more than a pastor and a leader, Gabe is the inspiration behind Everyone Church, an innovative ministry in this community. The church does not hold traditional worship services in a building like we expect church to happen. Instead, it serves the needs of the unhoused through the work of Everyone Village. The Village is a holistic community that provides much more than shelter. They provide wraparound services by more than 70 partner organizations, businesses, government agencies, not-for-profits, and faith communities. The Village that they have created is a place for residents to take positive steps that will help them flourish physically, emotionally, relationally, spiritually, and more. His advocacy and leadership and spirit of collaboration here is unparalleled. A former logger, Gabe returned to Bushnell University in midlife. It was a bold move. He followed a passion for ministry that grew out of his time on campus and through mentorship with our faculty. I met Gabe early on during his time as a student, and it was a privilege to watch him make that pivot back into higher education as a non-traditional student in the daytime program, surrounded by the typical 18 to 23-year-old student. He has now pursued a very practical and passion-filled ministry among one of the hardest populations in our city, trying to solve a problem that, frankly, very few people have been able to crack, and he's doing it. So we're going to hear a little bit about Gabe's story in his own words, and these words are honest and these words are raw. So please watch this beautiful documentary created by our professor, Dr. James Watson, that tells a little bit more about Gabe.
For me, where it all connects, where it all lands, where it all makes sense is in the margins of our community. Our lived experience at Everyone Church and Everyone Village has been that when you dive into that wound, when you hunker down in that margin, you rub elbows with the Spirit of God. Like, actually. So I had, through a series of all sorts of unexpected life events, found myself as a young man entering the trade of professional logging. We had a stretch of really hard times with our crews where we were losing guys on the job. They were dying with logging accidents. Logging is a young person's game, and so my body was starting to give me signals of, you can't do this forever, you guy. I know you like it. And it took 5 years from that seminal prayer to me being led down the mountain. The admissions counselor I worked with at the time actually has become a good friend, and we're still connected to this day, which is really cool. And now we do projects in the community together. Here's a guy in his midlife trying to improve his lot for him and his family, and he's got some unique circumstances. Let's just be open to whatever that is and warmly welcome that. So that was huge for me. And then because of Bushnell's amazing base of alumni and donors and supporters, they offered a very meaningful and sustainable financial aid package for my family and I, which made it all doable. There was one who was the first one to give me the confidence that a logger's tool belt would work well in ministry, and that was Dr. Terry O'Casey. So I go into his office and he looks at me and he says to me, "Do you know what you're doing with the rest of your life?" And I'm like, "I'm trying to figure that out." And he said, "Figure no more. I really, really think you should look at ministry hard. The way you're unpacking the text, the way you're writing your papers, the questions you ask, the way you describe your understanding of the text," he said, "it's just unique and you should take a hard look at it." And I laughed my way out of that conversation, but that was the first seed that led to many more from all the other amazing staff and faculty here of, yeah, there's something here. But something I would have never imagined and never saw coming and still don't fully understand happened. I became friends with a small group of homeless people that lived on the intersection the church was on. That core group of guys became a family on that porch. We started a program with the City of Eugene Manager's Office and the Eugene Police Department to put structure to it. They were giving 2 hours every Saturday to community service, and we changed that neighborhood on a dime. This is a bigger wound than the one I jumped into on 18th and Chambers. This one doesn't even seem to have a bottom. God, do you want us to jump in? And God said, I'm already down there. If you want to run with me, you're going to have to jump in. It wasn't pretty and it wasn't easy, but it was getting a little better. The business leaders in West Eugene started saying, hey, for years and years and years, this crisis has slowly gotten worse, and the city and the county, I don't think they can fix it. There's some scrappy guy out in West Eugene with a group of wacky Christians changing the game and getting wins on the table. Let's get behind them. Check for $1,000, pat on the back, phone call, keep it up. What do you need from me? I'll pay for the dumpster and the porta potty for this family unit. I'll pay for the dumpster and porta potty for this family unit. And then everything changed in the last week of August of the summer of 21. I had gotten home from a vacation with my family. I went into work on Monday morning, getting back in the saddle, and I get a phone call from Arlen Rexius. Rexius is a long-time, multi-generation company in our community. They're considered an anchor to the vertebrae of private business here. And so I'm thinking he wants to give me a check for $1,000, or a lot of people didn't like what we were doing and they weren't shy to tell us that neither, and so maybe he's going to chew me out, you know. And he says, get in my car. And we roll up to this steel gate, and he unlocks the gate and rolls it open, and we walk in, and it's just this giant 4-acre empty lot. There's nothing there. He turns around, he said, here you go, kid. Hands me the keys. It's all yours. Don't screw it up. For me, because of my logging background, my walk with the Lord is very visceral. It's very sense-oriented. I met God in creation, not in a church. And that summer, I felt the movement, the brushings of the Holy Spirit on my elbows, on my back, as we're down in the dirt and the guts and the blood and the needles and the poop and the piss and the suffering and the meth and all of it, and the fentanyl, all of it. There he was. I mean, there he was.
You've got to know Gabe. As some of you know, Rexius was the 2018 winner of the Exemplary Ethical Leader Award at this very event. And so this award is particularly meaningful that they have journeyed with you, Gabe. So we're going to hear just now a moment from Arlen himself, who shares his unique perspective on why this award makes sense in so many ways.
It only took a matter of minutes after meeting Gabe for the first time to understand the huge heart he has for the homeless. He is all in working with them to get them a better life and get them off the streets. Gabe put his life on hold so that all can have a better life and understand the systems and how to get things done. Gabe came to me with a plan, but nowhere to make his plan a reality. All I did was donate some key property, and he single-handedly made it all work out. It is an absolute pleasure to do something with our property that really matters in our community. Now, the Everyone Village is a work of art that can be easily repeated over and over again if we only had more Gabes out there. In 2018, Rexius was honored with receiving a similar award by Bushnell. Now it's an honor to see the ongoing work of Bushnell further impacting lives like Gabe's for our community. Congratulations, Gabe. You deserve it.
Our Beacon for Life 2019 graduate, Gabe Bihovich.
Boy, howdy. Must be quite a day for an old logger. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I can't think of a finer way to spend a Tuesday evening. I can't. This might be the finest Tuesday evening I've ever had. Thank you. I'm humbled, encouraged, blessed, grateful, and really, really excited. That's not true. Actually, I'm flat out fired up. To be invited by God, the master of the universe, no offense, He-Man, into one of the most intense, daring, risky, and downright exhilarating adventures God's got going on in this town is all that a goofy logger turned pastor like me could ever hope or wish for. Because you see, not that long ago, as a story told, on a day just like today, a beautiful Tuesday, I was up on a knife back ridge in the high fells of the Cascade Mountains, 100 feet up in an old growth, and me and God were dancing. Wind come in, moved the tree, the whole unfurled majesty of creation around me, and I thought, man, this is the best. I don't think I could ever want to do any other way of hanging out with God than this right here. And in the meagerness of my human imagination, I thought to myself, well, whatever comes after this will be less than this. I think God has a great sense of humor, and He delighted in that moment for sure. So He did. As the story told, He called me, He blessed me, He gifted me down from the mountain and into the most unexpected place I could have ever imagined, the classrooms of Bushnell University. And at Bushnell, under the tutelage, mentorship, inspiration, and guidance of the most amazing leaders that I never deserved, things began to change. My wild, maverick ways and my unbound creative ideas that are part and parcel and required to make logging happen were forged across my time on that campus into the wisdom I now lead my family, Everyone Church, and Everyone Village with. My raw, untamed, and instinctual walk with God in creation as a logger began to be tempered on campus into the faith I live by today. And my rough, blunt force and intense logging hands were softened in those classrooms and in those chapels and with those leaders into the servant hands I now use for God's mission in Eugene today. For 3 years as a student at Bushnell, I took the classes, I went to chapel, I did cool things with the student body, and I earned a degree which serves me well to this day, and it always will. But far more important than that, amidst all of that experience, almost imperceptibly, I was shaped into and learned how to be a beacon. It is this way, this role, being a beacon for God, that is the foundation, heartbeat, and why of my part in his story. His thrilling adventure that is unfolding all around us. This is a great and unfathomable place for a logger to be. Let me just tell you. I'm not used to hanging out with such honorable, amazing humans. And to be honored by those I just am completely flabbergasted I get to serve alongside is breathtaking. But still, I have one challenge for us all this evening. That we all here commit forthwith, with no hesitation, unequivocal, charge forward investment in beacon leaders of tomorrow. It was and is, as I described in that great story, a great privilege to be the recipient of the amazing generosity of the people who bring the support into this university for the amazing Beacon Fund and the scholarships it affords a logger and his family to be able to do the adventure we did and are still doing today. I am utterly confident that the sheer dividend return on any investment made towards future Beacon's education and the subsequent work in the world after their time on campus is God math. If you need an example equation, please come see us at Everyone Village. It's real and it works out. And the long-term success of Everyone Church and Everyone Village actually depends on that very investment. We, Gina and I and our staff, we talk about this all the time at Everyone Church and Everyone Village, and we talk about this with the amazing board that leads us. We're counting on someday, probably sooner than I would like, a beacon arriving at the door of the village and saying, I'm faithfully ready to take the baton of this work from you and carry it forward in ways you could never imagine. We can't miss this. We can't miff on this. We have to get this right. President Womack, Dr. Potter, Dr. Gilbert, all the amazing professors from Dr. Terry O'Casey, and the list is long. Thank you for making a logger feel at home in your college and helping me to repurpose chainsaw skills into ministry skills. That is not easy to do. Gina, my partner in all things, my best friend, my fireside lover, we've always been and will always be hand in hand, back to back, and our love is the treasure that marks the spot, and serving God with you is the X that marks it. Athens, Sahalia, and Penelope, you are my great loves, and my true hope that me and Mom's work, serving God, will be fully lived out in you. I'm very proud to be your dad. To the Everyone Church and Everyone Village team, all of our partners, many of you are in the room tonight. It was such a neat experience for arriving towards this day and working with the amazing team at the college to say who are partners at Everyone Village that can be a part of this evening. And I looked at the list of longtime supporters of this event, and they were our partners already. That was beautiful and powerful. So to all of you who have invested in me, my family, Everyone Church, Everyone Village, and the city of Eugene and Springfield that we love and fight for every day, when you get a package in the mail in a few weeks from me that's got a little sliver of that glass honor, know that it is an awfully lucky privilege to answer God's call alongside all of you. And that is the spark in my giddy up every day. And boy, howdy, if you come to the village, you'll see a whole lot of giddy up. As Bushnell University ventures forward, shaping, equipping, and sending beacons into our community and world, may we, as God's people called to his adventure here in Eugene, be in that, supporting that, encouraging that, and sending that forward strongly, so that Everyone Village is a very tiny part of the first chapter of God's new telling of what's going to happen in Eugene as the kingdom of heaven reigns here and now and forever. Thank you.
Just a few more things to share on this meaningful night, and thank you for being in this with us. Our faculty at Bushnell play an enormous role in what we do. They teach, of course, these professors, but they care about the whole person and try to integrate our values, our mission of wisdom, faith, and service into every imaginable field of study. Overseeing our faculty now, our brand new Vice President for Academic Affairs, the Dean, the Academic Dean of our school, Dr. Reed Mueller. I'm going to ask you to come, if you would, Reed, and just add a capstone to our time, the things that are important to us and why we believe the Bushnell experience is such a transformative one. So would you welcome Dr. Mueller, please?
That is a tough act to follow. It is such a pleasure to be here and to see firsthand the history of Bushnell coming to life in our community right now as it presses into the future. So thank you for the introduction, Keith. And thanks also for the invitation to offer perspective about what's unique about Bushnell and what it brings to our community, which you've seen tonight. For the last 35 years or so, I've been continually engaged in higher education. Started as an undergraduate student, graduate student, then a resident, eventually working my way into being a psychology professor and a department chair. And now I have the privilege of spending my time in a new level of leadership, working to advance the work of the faculty as they press into the lives of our students here at Bushnell. Truth be told, taking the call to serve in my present role was not on my career path, not in the plans. I was happy, I was very happy, working day to day with students in the classroom and beyond as they developed their thinking and worked out their plans for their professions to come. And that's where I thought it ended. But as you've seen tonight, it doesn't just end with professions. It ends with what God is doing in their lives. And it was such a joy to do that. So rewarding. Why would I trade that away to be here? Lead the life of a faculty with direct student contact all the time. For that matter, why trade away my long faculty summers as I pretended to think about my research on my kayak in Minnesota fishing for bass? Why trade it away? Because I believe Bushnell is matchless, and I think we've seen it here in what it offers in our regions in times such as these. And as such, I'm compelled to spend the final chapter of my life in academia leaning into the Noble Project here. In my view, Bushnell offers two essential outcomes for our community, and they've been expressed here well tonight in story, in lives. First, as you've heard, we seek to foster wisdom, faith, and service through excellent academic programs. That is one of the two pillars of what we do here. We help students gain the knowledge, the skills, and the ethical foundations that are essential for success today. Our students inhabit a world that's full of complexities that we didn't have to face when our generations were emerging adults. We had our own issues, of course, but the world now seems much more complex than it once did. For example, today's emerging adults find themselves in a world in which the ease of information access, coupled with intentional disinformation or unintentional misinformation passed along, has created new difficulties in discerning fact from fiction. And when we lose our grip on that, it's difficult to find the best way forward to meet the needs of the world around us. To decipher that way forward in this context takes wisdom and the accurate insight into self and society that wisdom offers. So at Bushnell, Pillar 1, we seek to foster wisdom, faith, and service through excellent academic programs, but that isn't all. Which brings me to the second essential outcome for our students at Bushnell, the second pillar, if you will. We foster wisdom, faith, and service within a Christ-centered community. And in doing so, we equip students to discover and answer God's call in their lives, as we've heard tonight. Wisdom is that first essential outcome. Discovering and answering God's call in their lives is that second essential outcome that makes a difference in the world. That word call is a tricky little word. Psychologists Dick and Duffy, two vocational psychologists, discussed call this way. It's a summons, experienced as originating beyond the self by God and the needs of God's world, to approach a role in life purposefully and with other-oriented values as the primary sources of motivation. It's not for self, it's for others. Think about that call, that word call. Call isn't a career outcome, but the why and the way one does one's job. And note that call isn't limited to one life role, but to many life roles it may be applied. It's the how and for what end one plays the roles we have as parent, sibling, friend, neighbor, citizen. In the face of the complexities in our world today and the great needs in our community and our region, the gift Bushnell sends out into the world is our wise and purposeful graduates who know they're called to serve rather than be served. These graduates have grown intellectually and through practical experience to deploy wisdom grounded in faith that drives them to serve thoughtfully and effectively, making the differences we've heard today. From the moment our students land at Bushnell, what I've seen as the new guy here is that we help them deepen their sense of purpose as they engage in the world and make it a better place. As such, the educational enterprise at Bushnell isn't only about the intellect, and this is what drew me here. What I appreciate most and what completes the unique value Bushnell offers is that it's about the shaping of a person into God's call for their lives for the good of our community. And in Gabe, we see this promise lived out. Yet not only in Gabe, but in those many others who graduate from Bushnell too. It's a unique place. I've been around the block a little bit in higher ed, and Bushnell has that unique imprint, an indelible imprint it leaves on its graduates as they do God's work in the world. Thank you.
he doesn't know I'm going to do this, but I'm going to embarrass Dan Hill, one of the members of our Board of Trustees, and Dan, a friend to many of us. I was with Dan and Joy in their home as they were describing the many things that they have passion for. And I said, I'm so glad we get to do that with you. And Dan sort of said, yes? And I said, yes, we're on the supply side of all of those works. And he said, what do you mean? And I said, we supplied you, Dan. He's one of our alum. And he was educated and trained in the midst of this kind of culture, which has been so much a part of our community now for so long. I was with an accountant this week who said to me, can you send us a fresh bunch of interns? When they're done, I always want to hire them because they own our values and because they show up. I like that notion of being on the supply side. And I know that I look out and I see business and nonprofit leaders from all over our community and communities. And I just believe in what we're doing. And as others have already said, and thank you, Gabe, I think you shortened my last speech by at least 3 minutes. What we get to do for the Beacon Fund, for student scholarships, is make a difference to pour into many who will be finding their sense of calling in their life and making our community and other communities better places to live. So we're going to urge you and ask you, and we say with great passion and absolutely no hesitation, would you consider please making a gift to the Beacon Fund tonight? Would you consider making a pledge to give to the Beacon Fund soon? Would you consider making a pledge to give regularly to the Beacon Fund? That would be a tremendous gift. We call that the Torchbearer Society, of those who light the torch maybe every month or very frequently, so that we can continue this great work with even more momentum. If you'd like to make a time to sit down, we can talk about other ideas for how you can be a part of Bushnell University. But in just a few moments, we're going to take some time to make decisions, and I hope make gifts to the Beacon Fund for student scholarships. Corinne, would you come now and just talk about the how, and then we will do it and close our night.
One of the things that we have to celebrate tonight is that up until this moment, we have had a total of almost $80,000 committed to this evening because of our sponsors and our lead donors. So can we just publicly thank the people who've already stepped up at that level? We have a big goal tonight. We would love to walk out of here with $150 for the Beacon Fund for this academic year. 100, did I say 100? Yeah, 150. Thank you. Of course, 150,000. $150,000. We have reached almost 80. If we were able to walk out of here tonight with an additional $70,000 in gifts and pledges to the Beacon Fund, this would make monumental progress in our goals to provide the financial aid to the students in our midst. There's some pretty easy ways to do this, and we're going to make it a little fun for you as well. One-time gifts tonight are unabashedly a blessing. We gather together to celebrate. We gather together to tell you the story of this special place. We can't do it without you. We've talked about this for years. You know, this is not a new concept. We really need our community to step into this work with us. So a one-time gift tonight goes a long ways towards, or pledge, gift or pledge, goes a long ways to that $70,000 of new scholarship aid. But like Keith mentioned, our monthly givers really provide a backbone for us, because then we can count on and anticipate how much money is coming in every month to the Beacon Fund, so that we can distribute that money in a faithful, consistent way to the students who need it. They depend on it. And so there's the one-time gift, and then there's the torchbearer gift. It literally helps keep the light lit. We love that image. We also know that you don't need gimmicks to join us. We know that we want you to care about this work because we believe it's meaningful and it's life-changing here and all around the world. But it also can be really fun. And so our friends at Harry Ritchie's, I do have to celebrate our friends. We have some fun incentives tonight that just make giving that much more fun. It is 6 weeks till Christmas. Do I need to remind us all? There are 6 weekends left. So if we can just celebrate, Harry Ritchie's has given us 2 $1,000 gift certificates to this event. So can we start by celebrating that alone? Thank you. So here's what makes it fun tonight. If you choose to give a one-time gift for this event, we'll even give you till midnight, and you want to make a gift to the Beacon Fund, you will be placed in a drawing for this $1,000 gift certificate. If you decide you want to become a monthly donor, a new torchbearer, it's really easy because you can do it online on your credit card. It's incredibly simple, and in some ways, when it's automatic, you don't have to think about writing the check every month. You can just think about praying for us as you see it come through. Any new torchbearers will be entered into a drawing to receive this $1,000 gift certificate. I would personally love to walk out of here with 25 new torchbearers for our Torchbearer Society. That would mean the world to us. But that's not all. If you want to make a one-time gift, you can get in this drawing. And if you also want to become a torchbearer at the same time, you can do both tonight. So if you're feeling super excited, generous, and ambitious for winning that gift certificate, you can do that as well. And I'm going to sweeten the pot if this is okay. Can I make a decision on? There's a lot of torchbearers in this room. And I know giving is a very personal decision, so I'm not going to call you out. I'm not going to make you stand. But many of you are giving monthly to this great mission. So if you want to increase your torchbearer donation every month, I will also put you in this drawing. So you are not left behind. We are so grateful for you, for every way that you stand in for us. So we really wanted to make this simple tonight. Every one of you has a pledge card and an envelope at your seat. That pledge card's really important for us because that gives us all of your contact information. We will care for that very, very faithfully. But please, we want to know you're here, and we need the information to make sure that we can thank you properly and all those good things. Through that card, you can make your donation by check or credit card, and you can actually do that right here tonight. You can fill it out, both the one-time gift and the torchbearer gift, on that pledge card. You can slip it in that envelope, and you can walk, as you walk out the door, you can leave it with us. If you're a little more high-tech and you just want to pull out your smartphone right now, you can go to give.bushnell.edu. It's up on the screen, and you can make your torchbearer's commitment, or you can make your one-time gift. We will count those. And if it's easier for you, if you're nervous about your credit card, or you just want to talk to somebody, or you want someone to walk you through that process, we've got a giving table out in the lobby, and our staff is there ready to help you. Let's see, Emily, you're back there. You snuck up. Thanks. We are just going to give you a few moments. We know that giving is very personal, and it's also something that's collaborative. This is a decision that you need to make, usually with your partner, your spouse, your family. So we're going to have that awkward moment, but Emily's going to entertain us with some amazing music. And don't go anywhere. Keith's going to come back up. But please consider how you can invest in our Beacons for Life. Thank you.
Lights as much as possible, please. Thank you. Well, I want to say thank you to everybody, especially again our sponsors, those who've made lead gifts, and the things that you're intending to do now. We invite you to keep working on this and let us know your good intentions. We want to know you better, support you in what you're doing. I'd like to close tonight in prayer, and then we'll say good night. Lord, thank you for being the giver of every good and perfect gift. Thank you for each person and their unique story. Thank you for those who've already proven that they are our partners in this important work. And thank you for those who are praying and considering even now. Lord God, go with us. Keep people safe as they travel. Bless those who weren't able to come, who've been ill or otherwise unable to come. And we give you thanks in Christ's name. Amen. Good night, everyone.